All right, here we go again. You got Mr. Law Jones coming at you live. Ain't been on here, ain't been on YouTube in a while. I hope all is well with you all here. I've gotten quite a few new subscribers. Thank you for subscribing to my channel. I greatly appreciate it. Just got a little project, actually one of like 2 or 3 projects I got going on here. This car here, this is a 1999 Mercury Grand Marquis. I bought this car about two, almost 3 weeks ago. It's a one on the car. It's got like 130,000 miles, which is very low mileage for these type of cars right here. These cars are kind of known for getting like, even some, I've seen some as high as like 450,000 miles. Pay about $500-600 for this car here, and it runs really good, but I had to change the intake on it, which I had knew about it upon buying it. Once I made sure that the gaskets, head gaskets, anything wasn't blown on it, I went on and grabbed it, and so today, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm actually changing the intake manifold on here. So I'm gonna show you what's going on here. On these Ford 4.6 engines, or as Ford they call it the modular V8, which is basically consisted of the 4.6 single overhead cam, 4.6 dual overhead cam, or some people call it the intake. I know Lincoln was using the intake name for a while. Triton, whatever, modular, so it's all in that same family. This one right here, this is the original intake. I took it off this morning. If you see, like right over here where my finger kind of going along right here, on these intakes here, when Ford did these here, like when Ford decided to kind of go with the plastic intake, as of making the engine itself more efficient, making a little more power and all that good stuff, these here, they had a very big history from 96 to 01, which they were cracking. Even like in 2002 on the Ford Explorer with the 4.6, they were cracking. And where they would crack at, they would basically like crack like right over here, or sometimes they'd crack right over there, or it'd crack right in this area right here where my finger's at. On this one, when I took this one off here, it was actually cracked in like 3 places on here. It cracked like right over here where you see the antifreeze at right there. It cracked right over. No, actually cracked right here. What am I talking about? It's cracked right over there. And then upon taking it off, you see where the antifreeze residue at. Seeing the little hairline crack right there, and then one at the back. So it was really leaking, really bad. So when I took that intake off, it was actually like, when I tell you I had like antifreeze everywhere, it was everywhere. So this is just kind of like a little residue right here, which I had took off the water pump. So still a little bit of leakage. So I'm gonna clean it up really well before I put that new intake on there. Just gonna do a final clean of that surface area right here. That's where the intake is gonna go. But yeah, let me show you what I'm doing, which is gonna be a little bit different. So like I said, on this one here, so back to the factory style intake. When 02 came around, Ford had introduced like a newer version of this plastic intake. They still kept it plastic, but what they did, since it was so much of an issue with it cracking, but they didn't do a recall. They did like it would end up being kind of like what's a class action lawsuit. But I felt they should have did a recall for those people who bought these cars new, and then they end up getting a screw job, so to speak. So what they ended up doing, they did a class action lawsuit. They did these on 96 to 01s. They was replacing them, and so some got replaced, some didn't, and this is actually one of them that didn't. So that's why I'm doing this today. It's not been a fun project. I've done stuff worse, so this ain't by far the worst. It's pretty bad, but it ain't worse. But anyway, this is the new one right here, and this is like a Ford racing intake here. This is what they use on the Mustangs, and this one here, as you see it right here, you can see it's obviously 2 big difference right here. The new intake gonna sit a little taller. Let me back away from the camera a little bit. So if you see it right here, on the new one, you see how it's got like the fatter runners, it's taller, and then when you go to the factory one here, it's much lower. So this won't be like a direct fit, so I had to do a little bit of modifications to making this work here. So what I'm doing, let me go over here. So that's the old water pump right there. I took it off. It was just cheaper just to go ahead and just replace it. So that's the new one right there. That's the Ford Motorcraft one right there. So let me put that down, and that's the part number for that. Those who need it for anything like that. I had to change the alternator bracket on it, and this is gonna be the, let me get that That's the part number. Oh, there we go. That's part number for this here, and it's gonna look something like this right here. I mean, you can go to junkyard and stuff, but you know, I went to junkyard, try to sort some of this stuff out, and I had the poorest luck trying to find stuff. I mean, I couldn't find an alternator, couldn't find the brackets. They took all the bolts, brackets, everything, and like this a crossover. Like this is a cooling tube that goes down in the valley right here. You see how much that's pretty long right here, and this one right here. This one here takes a shorter version of it. So as you see, it's like a 9-day difference. You see how much shorter it is. So I got to use this here. I took the old coils out. I'm just going to go ahead and change those out. While I'm at it doing this much work right here, I might as well just go ahead and change it. That way it'll get a good tune up, new intake on it, water pump. So be good for a while. And so come right here. I went on and bought a brand new thermostat while I was at it. That's the part number 4. This is a Motorcraft one. So I went on and bought this one. Actually shocking, this made in US here. They're shocking because most stuff is either made in China and Mexico. You know, it don't bother me as long as it work. But shocking to see some American made stuff these days in parts. And this is a new thermostat housing. I bought that one, and that's brand new. And of course, there you go. Now that one's made in China, which is shocking. Now keep in mind, it's a Motorcraft part though. Crazy, right? But that's the part number 4 right there if you ever need it for future reference for anything. And so these are the coils, and these are made by Denso, and that's the part number for this here. And you know, Denso is actually like the OEM part maker for Toyota and Lexus. And so I went on and bought these here. So I went on and bought some new coils for it. I just said, you know what, let's just go and do it right. Got the new O-ring for it, for the that goes in the thermostat housing where the thermostat mounts at. That's the part number for that. Changed the PCV valve out while I'm at it. Crazy, right? Changing every damn thing today. So that's the part number for this here, PCV valve, brand new. And I use Felpro. I usually like their gaskets. Felpro makes some among some of the best gaskets around. I ain't gonna lie, them and Molly, they make some really good ones. So Felpro, you can't go wrong with them. They do a lot of innovative stuff with their parts, you know, their products and stuff, which I do like it. So that's the part number for these here. So it's actually gonna be a part 2 of this video because it is gonna take a little bit of modification. You got my car all tore up here. I mean, I got the throttle body over there. I got the fuel rail over here, so I tried not to disconnect it where I went ahead and take so much off of there, so I just kind of got to lay into the side. It was a bunch of bolts. It was a few bolts that was back there. I mean, this ain't no, you know, this job here, I wouldn't say this wouldn't be for anybody to do. I'll tell you one thing, man, this car will make you curse, that's for sure. It'll test your patience, that's for sure. Because there's some bolts in the back, like in this left corner, like right in the back over here. It had like a 15mm stud over there, and then it had a 13mm nut on it. So yeah, take that off to get like a bracket off on it. And this one here, this is the bracket that was on there. And I see a lot of guys who've done this project right here, and has actually kind of retained the cruise control cable and accelerator cable on here. And so what some guys do, because what it does, this here is really a nightmare right here. I mean, if you got big hands or big fingers, anything like that, man, you're gonna be cursing and you're gonna be raising all kind of hell, I'm telling you. So trust me when I tell you that. So what I'm probably gonna do, I am gonna put this thing back on it, but what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna cut the back off on it. So I'm taking this like maybe like a fuel rail protector, but man, it's really tight back there. So I see a lot of guys leave it off, but I may just modify it some and just keep this on here because it's the one part that goes on the fuel rail anyway. And so that's it on that. On that note, got all my bolts here, so I know where those go. These are my intake bolts right here, which was 10mm. That's that one real long that goes in this deal right here. So it goes like that as such. And those are my water pump bolts right there. Those are it. So I just kind of get everything kind of spaced out. I ended up taking the map sensor down. There's some nuts for that one. These 4 right here, that's for the fuel rail to secure it down. So I got parts and stuff scattered everywhere, but I had spaced them out so I wouldn't lose anything or mix anything up. So, but yeah, like I said, this is going to be a part 1 of this video right here. So probably ain't going to show, like I said, I really don't have nobody filming with me. You know, to kind of hold the camera while I kind of do this here. So, but I just want to kind of show you what's going on and what's been going on here. So, like I said, but I really appreciate it again. Thank you again for subscribing to the channel. And like I said, when you see part 2 of this here, I should have this thing running. It should be running really good. So, like I said, I'm gonna change the plugs in it. Changing the coils, like I said. So as you've seen in the new parts, I just showed everybody what was going on with that. Oh, they're the plugs right there. What I'm talking about. Yeah, so those are moldy crap plugs. These are platinums. That's the part number for it. SP-493. And this is the factory plug for this here. These are already pre-gap. I've already checked these here. Let me see if I can zoom in. What's wrong with me? Okay. Uh-oh. Can I zoom in? There we go. Yeah. So that's the plugs for this here. And I already went through and make sure they was gapped where they needed to be gapped at. And that's pretty much it. I do need to go back to the Ford dealer though. Not go back there, but I do need to go there. What I was told was when you go with this taller intake on here, because this thing has about 10 bolts, and right here where those two right here where the thermostat housing, actually the intake kind of mounts it down right there. But what happens is when you go to this new one, you got to get, especially like this PI one here, you know, this performance improved one, you got to get some longer thermostat housing bolts for that, because the old ones that come with this here, the one that come off the factory one, they don't hold. You won't have a bite to them to tighten it down. So I'm gonna have to go to a Ford dealer, pick up 2 bolts for that, and then I can put this thing together and go from there. But like I said, there will be a part 2 of this video, and I'll be in touch. Thanks again.